As I'm sure you guys have already heard by this point, Chen has had her channel axed from YouTube over allegations of being an illegal propagandist for Russia. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and this is a wild story that I'm gonna be real. I do not believe in the slightest. Now, could it be true? Absolutely, there's the chance it could be true. That being said, remember from 2016 through about 2019 where they tried to tell us every single day for 3 years straight that Donald Trump was a Russian asset, and then after 3 years of investigations, yeah, that was proven to be false? Or remember when they tried to hide the Hunter Biden laptop story to, affect the results of the election? Or when they tried to tell us that, oh, the Hunter Biden laptop story, it was a real story, but it was a real story that was being, pushed by Russians, and that actually, there's a Russian disinformation campaign to try and, rope people into voting right wing. All I'm saying is, there's been a lot of times folks have jumped, propagandists themselves have jumped to blaming Russia, and it's turned out to be just a load of malarkey. So, look, mightn't this be true? Absolutely. However, the Russia playbook is getting incredibly played out. Meet the right-wing Canadian influencers accused of collaborating with an alleged Russian propaganda scheme. Before we get into this article, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, but sometimes we got to talk about things a bit more important than what's going on in nerd culture because, first of all, this is YouTube culture. Also, this is politics. And with politics being downstream from culture, politics are still very, very important. In fact, the culture that we are trying to cultivate right now is what is leading to fighting against propaganda pieces like this. Because remember, children, propaganda is okay as long as it's the right kind of propaganda, as long as it's the propaganda that your government wants you consuming, much like we see from these Canadian outlets here, then by all means, propagandize away. Tenet Media founder Chen allegedly took funds from pro-Moscow outlet. The social media accounts of two of Canada's most vocal far-right pundits have fallen unusually silent after U.S. officials accused them of being collaborators over a covert Russian propaganda. Far right, what constitutes as far right? Now, I get it. In Canada, anything to the right of Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders is far right, but in all reality, what does far right mean? Because you know what? I've not listened to a whole lot of Chen. The videos I have listened to, I quite enjoy. I like Chen a lot, but I wouldn't call her far right. I would call her a right winger. Absolutely. But what ideologies does she hold that makes her far right? Is it, the fact that she's not exactly a big fan of immigration? Well, guess what? Neither was Bernie fucking Sanders in 2016, for example. Is it her stance about the LGBTQIA communities? Well, look, we were all pretty pro LGBTQIA during those Obama years, and then you start having 12-year-olds cut their cocks off and say they can be pretty princesses in elementary school, and people started to push back a little bit. So yes, I'm truly curious as to what makes someone far right. On Wednesday, the U.S. Justice Department unsealed indictment against two Russian nationals, accusing them of setting up a conservative media outlet as a front for pro-Kremlin propaganda. The media outlet was unnamed in the indictment, but it was clear from details within that the charges refer to Tenet Media, founded in 2023 by Canadian influencer known as Chen and her husband Liam Donovan. Among the people they hired last year was Chen's longtime friend and occasional collaborator, Lauren Southern, who I'm not near as much of a fan of as Chen. And again, I'm not a big fan of Chen, but I can't say that I get behind Lauren Southern very much. I just don't like her style of how she approaches these sorts of conversations. Another Canadian far-right influencer, but still they're using that term again, far-right. Oh wait, it gets even worse with a massive social media following. In the few short months it operated, the outlet produced a steady stream of content favorable to Donald Trump. Oh no! They're making content that isn't for my socialist communist candidate for president. What shall we do? Send in the Russians, including an appearance by his daughter-in-law, Lara Trump. God damn, now they're bringing in the relatives, even relatives by marriage of Donald Trump. The villains must be stopped. Off with their heads. Since the indictment was made public, several Tenet Media collaborators have come forward to claim they were unaware of how the company was funded. You got individuals like homo-ass Dave Rubin, who was a little bitch and who's been a little bitch for years now. Dave Rubin, probably the worst of them all, claiming to be a victim in here. Get this. This is why Dave Rubin is an absolute scumbag, and I've been saying it for ages. These allegations clearly show that I and other commentators were victims of this scheme. Dave Rubin, a right-wing pundit with 2.45 million YouTube subscribers, wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, "Homie, right now, again, much like the Dr. Disrespect case, innocent until proven guilty." Now, mightn't this be true? I will again say yes, because Who knows what's going to happen, but I do know that in America, we believe in good goddamn well the fact that innocent until proven guilty is a thing, and you should be standing by the individuals who employed you, who gave you a voice, who gave you an outlet to espouse whatever beliefs you have. No, you going on X and throwing them under the bus when it's just an indictment, when there's been no actual, right now, when there's no, court hearings or anything, there's no evidence that we, the public, have seen yet. You just immediately look at what these left-leaning news sources, the same news sources you've been saying since like 2015 or earlier, are propaganda. But oh no, these left-leaning news sources are saying it now. I better go ahead and jump in front of this and be like, oh no, we immediately disavow her. You have absolutely no spine. You have no morals. You are a sad piece of shit, David Rubin. Just don't get me started on that ass clown. But Southern and Chen have yet to speak publicly. Reached by phone on Thursday, Chen told CBC News, "We're not commenting at this time." Southern did not respond to email. Neither has posted anything online since the indictment was made public, and neither Chen, Donovan, nor Southern are the subject of criminal charges, and none are named in the indictment. Their names aren't in the indictment, just potentially their company, from what I'm understanding. They are not subject to criminal charges. Well, they're not subject to criminal charges. Why did YouTube yank down the entire account? Now, I get why. They claim it's because, it broke community guidelines. What community guidelines does it break? Because I could be wrong, but yeah, okay, so let's say it was funded by Russians. Who fucking cares? Like, how does that break community service? What did she do in her videos or in her content that actually broke the community services, because the community guidelines? Because I don't think that just taking money from someone to produce videos is against any sort of rules. Now, I could be wrong, and there could be individuals in the comments that are like, no, Leon, it's actually this rule right here, XYZ. Okay, fair enough. But as it currently stands, I'm not entirely sure, again, whether you like Russian propaganda or not, if that is even true, what the channels themselves, what the content of the video was that was actually against the community guidelines to warrant being yanked without any, again, let's be real, it's because the government's got their hands in this. That's what it is. The government is indicting these individuals. These individuals have YouTube channels. YouTube is trying to look all squeaky clean because it's an election year, and they're going to yank the channels, and they're going to change the rules, and they're going to apply new rules retroactively, and that's why they yanked it, because YouTube is absolutely in the bed and in the pocket of big government and all these other larger corporations. Because let's be real, YouTube doesn't make money. YouTube is subsidized by Google, and we all know good goddamn well that Google is one of the wokest of the woke when it comes to corporations out there. It has been verifiably proven, some of the stuff that they've been, like, only sending out reminder messages to go vote to, about 56% of conservatives, where it did it to almost a 100% ratio of liberals, for example. It is outright filthy and disgusting. But the allegations have jeopardized their standing within right-wing circles. Yeah, because these right-wingers are bitches. And I say all the anytime I criticize the right, people get mad at me in my comments, I lose subscribers, but let's call it what it is. Right-wingers are little bitches. They're cowards. They want to play it safe. They want to, we'll play ball, because if we don't play ball, they'll get rid of us entirely. Stand up for what you believe in. Fight that shit. You wonder why I'm not a right-winger? You wonder why your boy Leon ain't a conservative? Because unlike these individuals, I ain't a little bitch. I will absolutely say what I think. And I think that Dave Rubin and all their ilk, Glenn Beck, The Blaze, the people that are demonizing Lauren Chen when there's absolutely no evidence as of yet, when there's just allegations, go fuck yourself, you dumb, spineless dicks. Chen has already been fired from another conservative website, Glenn Beck's The Blaze. Her YouTube channel, which had more than 572,000 subscribers, was terminated on Thursday, and her bio page on the website for Turning Point USA, a pro-Trump campus activist group, has been deleted. Even TPUSA was like, we ain't fucking with this bitch. Stand up, conservatives, you absolute pussies. This is getting insane. Broader conservative apparatus. Born in Quebec and raised in Hong Kong, Chen rose to fame as a YouTuber under the moniker Roaming Millennial. She was an outspoken supporter of Trump in 2016 election and an eager soldier in early years of the culture wars. At least you guys are acknowledging the culture war does in fact exist. She's situated as a part of this broader conservative apparatus that seeks to instill social and cultural values that align with certain interests concerning anti-immigration, anti-LGBTQ rights, and anti-feminism, said Evan Ledig, who studied both Chen and Southern for her book Women of the Far Right released last year. Yeah, sounds like a completely unbiased source. Hey, let's get a load of my book. What's it called? Women of the Far Right. Okay, I feel like there's probably a conflict of interest here when it comes to your impartial, your impartial bias and writing this with an objective lens, an objective point of view. Fucking, why are you even you're gonna source Ivan Ledig, who no one's ever heard of until this article, all 12 people that are reading this article, as some sort of credible source when the apparent bias is right there in the title of the book? That is insane. As her subscriber base grew into hundreds of thousands, Chen began making appearances on popular conservative outlets such as Fox News and The Daily Wire. In the indictment, Chen appears to be referred to as Founder One and is said to have begun working for the parent company of RT, the Russian state-run news outlet, in the spring of 2021. RT was forced to stop operating in the US and Canada as part of government-imposed sanctions and Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine. And you know what? Fair enough. If because of the sanctions, she was not allowed to work with Russia anymore, had those tied to Russia, or create content on behalf of the Russians, hey, that's how you play the game, baby. That is that sort of warfare. There's sanctions, there's tariffs, there's you put a nix on all cultural exports. That makes absolute sense. That being said, I'm still curious what, on the letter of what her content was, what was actually against the community guidelines. I'm still fuzzy on that, so hopefully someone's able to enlighten me. But in their timeline laid out by the U.S. officials, Founder One began recruiting conservative personalities with lucrative offers in 2023 for a new media outlet, all being paid to do so by RT operatives. From the details provided in the indictment, Chen was allegedly billing RT in part through Roaming Millennial Inc., a company registered in the Montreal area where her mother lived. Tenet Media was eventually registered in Tennessee as a subsidiary of Chen's Canadian company. When Tenet Media launched in November, the RT operatives are suspected of having directed the two founders how to cover certain stories and what content to circulate on social media. Again, look, we get propaganda all day, every day, from all different manners and arms of various governments and corporations. You're only upset about this because it's the Russians, and frankly, let's be real, the Russians ain't even that big of a deal at this point. The Russians aren't even that, I'ma say it, I don't give a fuck, the Russians aren't even that bad at this point. Oh, Vladimir Putin's a war criminal. Yeah, fucking every world leader is a war criminal. What makes Vladimir Putin so different? Oh, he's fucking honest about it. In a way, I kind of at least respect that. Among the examples listed in the indictment, the operatives instructed Chen to produce content that blamed the US and Ukraine for the March 2024 attack in Moscow that was claimed by ISIS. Hasn't information come out by this point that actually proved, in fact, it was Ukraine, or at least evidence strongly points to it being Ukraine? Yeah, ISIS claimed it, and I guess, again, it's possible that it was ISIS, but I'm pretty sure most of the evidence points to it actually being Ukraine. ISIS has taken credit for shit they didn't do multiple other instances before. It's not like ISIS is immediately just any more credible than fucking Ukraine, or God forbid, the actual American government who lies to its citizens day in, day out to keep you fat, dumb, and happy and buying shit you don't need. That way you live under their boot and get fat and just become these bootlickers that absolutely would just fall to pieces if it weren't for the handouts and the good graces of Big Daddy government. We're with you, Uncle Sam. Since Tenet Media began publishing content, Southern has produced several videos for the outlet focusing on Canadian issues, which is weird because nobody gives a fuck about Canada, but go off. Their titles range from Canada's becoming a communist hellhole, it is, which compares Canada to the USSR, and mean tweets equal life in prison in Canada, they do, which criticizes the proposed Online Harms Act, an act that absolutely should be criticized because that is fucking inhumane and a direct affront to the sensibilities and responsibilities of individuals who value and garner their free speech as a God-given right. If you think naively that the Russians don't care as much about influencing Canadian thought, penetrating, look, I don't care about what this asshole has to say. At this point, they call Lauren Southern, one of the early stars of the alt-right movement, so they've gone further. They've gone from calling her far-right to now going all in and saying alt-right. It's absolutely insane. This is propaganda to the max. And by all means, I'm not even saying none of this is true. It might be. Again, I doubt it because of this Russian shit getting real played out. But how is this any different? This is propaganda. This is a propaganda piece making you upset about other people engaging in the opposite style of propaganda. And by God, I hope you don't fall for it. By God, I hope you were smart enough to look down the middle and say, both these sides are probably pretty fucked up, I should think for myself, because that's the only way I'm actually going to be able to figure out, at least in some way, shape, or form, and just sort of parse through all the details of what's actually going the fuck on in the world right now. That way maybe we can stop it before Skynet ends up judgment daying all of us, because that's the road we're on. Don't forget to say hi to your Alexa this morning so that she can pack your lunch for you and tell you make sure that your alarms go off on time. But these are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at BOOTED. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. I get this situation wasn't particularly nerdy, but it is very important, so by all means, it's usually about anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on my Friday night live streams, and of course, get involved with over 80 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. There's only one kind of diversity of thought. If that's interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.